Hey, what's up, Day2Day podcast? Welcome to episode 2 of the Day2Day podcast. So excited to start this journey with you guys, and can't wait to see the way God's going to move in this coming semester. It's episode 2, y'all. Let's get hype. So just a reminder on why we do this. We want this podcast to be a place where we can have a real, genuine connection with our students, whether you're entering middle school or you're entering into your last year of high school. We want to give you guys the tools to walk with Jesus in your day-to-day lives. There's a lot of change, there's a lot of transitions taking place, and we want you guys to have a community that helps you grow with Jesus daily. So speaking of change, today's episode is going to be talking about the difficulty of change in our lives and sometimes transitioning, from one grade to another or one school to another. So we have some really awesome guests with us today. We have Megan, Stewart, and Caitlyn. If y'all just want to tell us a little bit about yourselves, the grade you're going into. Yeah, started off with Megan.
Nice. I'm Megan. I did graduate college already, so we're here super senior lifestyle, and I work here at BT.
Super senior in the church.
I'm Jonathan. I go to SciTech and Mercedes. I'm a sophomore, and yeah, it's fun.
Sick.
Hello, my name is Caitlyn. I just graduated high school. I'm a senior, and I graduated from Pioneer High School.
Awesome. Well, just kind of getting right into it then. Especially y'all two Caitlyn especially, you're kind of graduating out of high school, transitioning into that college life. What do you think has been the most difficult transition for you guys to go through? And either just in school or in general, what's been kind of just like a difficult transition in y'all's lives?
I think for me, it was transitioning from middle school to high school because COVID hit 8th grade year and my entire freshman year was online. Dang. So it was very hard. I got a lot of anxiety and I felt very lonely in those times because I just felt like I was going to lose all my friends, especially because online year was like we couldn't talk to anyone besides our teachers and it was just all just on Zoom. So once I came back to school, I did lose most of my friends. Like some of my friends from middle school, I haven't seen them since middle school. Dang. And it's a very difficult time when you lose all your friends because then you feel alone. So once I came back to school, I just felt like I couldn't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, especially when everything's, like you said, online. And some people just, sleep all day. Like I did.
Yeah. For real.
I was late to classes all the time.
Felt that.
Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah.
For me, change, it was when I lost my grandpa. I would do everything with him.
Yeah.
And when he passed, he was gone, so I just had to accept that change and let God, lead my life through that.
Bro.
So, yeah.
Megan?
I think for me, it was transitioning from 6th grade to 7th grade because I grew up in private school my whole life and my mom was a teacher there. So I had this comfort shield around me. Yeah. And then going to public school, I was so scared. I was like, oh my gosh, this kid's going to kill me. I just don't know
public school's rough, bro.
No, exactly.
Public school's the worst.
And I just remember sitting in class on the first day, just minding my own business, being so quiet and being like, oh, this is scary. But no, I'm so glad that transition happened because I met some great people and some lasting friendships that wouldn't have happened if I was stayed at private school. And so doing that fear, even though it was scary, was honestly a blessing in disguise. For
sure. Yeah. Transition's tough just in general. In every aspect of life. So kind of building onto that, why do you think transition and change can be so tough just for some people? Because I feel like, some people, they make a change and it's easy. It seems like it didn't even affect them. But for others, especially for me, I feel like whenever I had to go through a transition or a change, it was tougher on me. Why do you think it affects some people more than it does others?
I think because it becomes unexpected a lot.
Dang.
It comes out of nowhere, just change your life entirely. You can't do certain things anymore. And you just gotta go with the flow, go with what God gives you and just go with the punches.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree to that. I feel like we're so used to just things going our way and things just being normal how they always are. And then something just changes and you're like, I'm so scared or I have fear for what's coming next. And we don't know what's coming next. Only God knows.
Yeah.
So we have to put our trust in him because he's the only one that truly knows what's going to happen next in our life.
Yeah, for sure.
Jumping off of that, I feel like it can be also the fear of the unknown. Because you're in your head, you're also making up what you think it's going to be. You're like, I have it in my head that this is what it's about to happen. This is what this is going to be. And you make up these thoughts and this scenario in your head, and it scares you. Like, it almost keeps you trapped in your head of this fear of the unknown of like, well, I know exactly what it's going to be, so I don't even want to take the next step into this change or this transition. But in reality, in Timothy, it tells us that we don't have a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power. And so when change comes or transition comes, when we make up in our heads these false scenarios, what we think is going to happen, it's like relying on that power that's inside of us instead of that fear that can come. Yeah.
I love that. I feel like it's a big thing with just a lot of people kind of getting it wrapped up in your head that this is going to suck, this change is going to suck, this time period I'm transitioning into is going to suck.
No, exactly.
We just kind of get in our heads so deep that we can kind of lose sight of God and what God's plan. We kind of have those blinders on us. So that's super, super good. I love that. Love that. Awesome. Kind of going into our next question then, Megan kind of touched on it, talking about the word right there. What does God have to say about facing the next thing and kind of transitioning into our next stage of life?
I think what God has to say is that he has his own plan for everybody, right? So if something changes in your life, that's just his plan.
Dang,
and you just got to talk to him and see where you're heading.
Heck yeah.
Okay, spitting fast.
Yeah, bro, I love that. I love that. At the end of the day, I love that, bro.
Amen.
I was reading in Joshua 1:9. It says, "This is my command, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go."
Dang.
God will always be with you, like, in everything, if you just be there with you, if you listen to him. Because I just remember freshman year, I felt so alone. I was distant from God because I wasn't listening to him.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you continue to read the Bible, if you continue to pray, he'll be with you.
Yeah.
And you will not feel alone anymore.
I love that, bro. A lot of times I feel like we forget that God's walking with us.
Yeah.
Especially for those of us like, we're in the church, we're, we've accepted Christ into our lives. It's like, we kind of talked about it a little bit on the last episode, but why am I still going through these changes? Why am I still going through these transitions? Like, I thought God said my life was going to be good whenever I, went into, community with him. And I feel like we lose sight of the fact that, God is with us wherever we walk, no matter what stage of life we're going into. Jesus is walking right next to us, shoulder to shoulder. He's not ahead of us. He's not behind us. He's right next to us, guiding us through.
Yeah.
Stewart, you hit it like on the head. I feel like, whenever we go through these changes, whenever we go through these transitions, where are we turning to? Are we turning to our friends? Are we turning to our parents? Are we turning to like the community around us? Well, why don't we turn and give that to God?
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. I don't know if you have anything you want to add on to that, Meg.
The only thing that came to me was when going over this with Matthew chapter 6, which verses 25 through 34 talking about the cure for anxiety. That's literally what it's titled. And the end of it, chapter 34, it says, "Therefore don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will have worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." I think while the next, exactly. It really does. It's building up those false scenarios, you're so worried about the next thing or the next step that you can get that created in your head. And I know God has big plans for us, but I think sometimes we can get wrapped up in the future instead of what he has for us right now.
Bro,
and with that can come us getting focused on tomorrow and creating those troubles in our head about those false scenarios of, okay, well, what's this next thing? What's this next transition going to hold? What's this next change going to hold?
Yeah.
But in verse 34, he says, "Therefore don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will have enough worry about itself." So I think when it comes to the next thing, not that God isn't ready for that, because he's had that plan for us from the moment we were born and the moment he created us. But I think we shouldn't get so caught up on that we instead need to focus on the right now, what he has for us right now.
Yeah.
Because again, tomorrow's not promised, and it has enough to worry and trouble on its own. When right now he's ready for us right now. We still have a mission field right now as well.
Yep. I love that.
Yeah, I could kind of relate to that because I get very stressed out a lot, and I'm like, what's going to happen in the future when I go to college? I'm like, I'm so scared. I don't know what to do, but I should just give it to God. You know, like he has my life. It's not mine. And I feel like I get so stressed out because I'm like, oh, I need to do this. I need to work. I need to get ready for college. I need to practice swimming. I need to do all these things.
That's a big load, yeah.
Yeah, no, it really is.
But honestly, we just need to go day by day. Just give it to God. And wherever I end up, it's in his plan.
Yeah. 100%.
I feel like you made a really good point. I feel like it's lost in a lot of like the older generation, the workload that high school and even middle school students have nowadays. You play sports, you're in an extracurricular activity, you have homework, classes online, that sort of stuff. It's so much stuff that's put on y'all's plate. It's almost like how do I deal with this? And then on top of that, having to go through a transition, having to go through a change. It's just so much that's kind of getting thrown at y'all so quickly and at such a young age. I feel like, you know, when I was in high school, yeah, I had changed, but I feel like you guys talked about it a little bit, you know, with COVID happening, all of that, like just super quick, just changes and transitions. It's a lot for y'all, man. I feel like it's a lot harder for you guys than when I was in high school, at least. So yeah, that's sick. I don't know if you had anything you were gonna say. I might have cut you off.
with APs,
Ooh,
classes.
Bro,
yeah.
facts.
Or even taking just college classes.
Dude,
like I know some of y'all are doing. I'm like, y'all are overachievers. I did not take college classes when I was in high school.
I took like one AP test my whole high school year, and I was like, heck, no, never again, bro. Never again.
It's so difficult, dude. Like, why you gotta be timed?
Bro.
Like a minute a question, dude. Like,
It's too stressful.
And then you have to go to like, did you also have to do like the like you have to go after school to study for the AP class with your AP teachers or something like that?
They had the option to, but I didn't
This
go.
guy, did you pass or what?
Yeah, I passed.
Hey,
you
my
got
dog. No, all right. So kind of getting into our last question then. What would you say to the person who is struggling to adapt to their new school or their new grade level or just change in general? What would be some advice you give someone struggling with that change?
I feel like I would say you're not alone in anything. Never just hold it in. If you have something to say, tell your family, tell your friends, go to a pastor. If you go to church, go to your leaders, because once you hold it in, you're just going to feel stressed and then you're going to explode. That's what I do.
Dang.
I hold it in a lot, all my anger, and then I just explode on someone and I'm like, I'm so sorry. That wasn't my intent. I just needed to tell someone.
Yeah.
So I feel like you should, if you're going through change or anything, don't be afraid to tell someone.
Yeah.
Be transparent. Be transparent.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know why I didn't say this earlier, but my definitely biggest transition was in high school.
Yeah.
So my sophomore year, I ended up having a lot of health problems, and I actually had to drop out and go back to private school, and then I went back to public school my junior year. And that was extremely scary and fearful because I went from being in a bubble to then not in a bubble, then back to a bubble and being separated from all my friends. And I got so fearful that I didn't want to go back to Mac High.
That's almost COVID in itself.
No, exactly.
Exactly. Bro, you had your personal COVID.
No,
bro.
I really did. And I remember telling my mom, like, I don't want to go back to Mac High. Like, I'm so scared. Like, I haven't seen my friends in a while. Like, I keep up, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And I just remember being so scared and creating that false scenario in my head. And I remember when I walked those doors, like everyone was so excited to see me. And so, wait, what was the question again? I totally lost my train of thought.
No, you're good. It was, what would you say to someone who's struggling with transition and change?
Yeah.
Like, what would be some advice you'd give them?
I would say, like, don't let fear stop you.
Yeah, oof.
Because, like, that was
good,
for
dude.
me. Like, I was so fearful that I didn't want to go back to Mac High because I created in my head what everyone was going to think of me, what that was going to be, everything. And I remember walking through that hallway and just all my friends, like, being so excited that I was back. But if I had let fear stop me, I never would have had that moment and probably would have been deeper in isolation and deeper in depression.
Yeah.
But instead, breakthrough came, not only because during that time I was trusting more in God with the plan he had for me, but also because I didn't let fear stop me in the plan that he had for me going back to Mac High. And so I would say if you're struggling with that transition or change, don't let fear stop you. Don't let fear be the thing that you're holding on to. Let God know that he's the one who's leading you and he's right there beside you. And like Caitlyn said, like, you're not alone. Like, I know it can feel like you're alone so many times, but you have people who do care about you and want to be there for you. And like Caitlyn said, like, if you don't go to church, you don't have a pastor, like, you do have your teachers. Like, I know it can seem overwhelming, but I promise they do care about you. That's why they're there.
Love that.
To add on to that, you never know what good can come out of it.
Exactly. That's so good.
You said that your friends were waiting there for you. That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's so good, Stewart.
At the end of the day, just give it to God.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the thing that we've all been, just kind of pointing at, we're not alone. There's someone that wants to walk through us in our transitions, in our changes, give it to God at the end of the day. Awesome. Well, that's a wrap for episode 2 of the Day2Day podcast. I'm Devon, super hyped to, have been with y'all through this transition and this just episode in general, talking with y'all about these changes. Super hyped. Let's just remember, Jesus loves y'all and wants to walk with you guys in your day-to-day lives. So hyped. See y'all next week.
See ya.
Day-to-day.
Jesus is for you.
Hey, there we go.